boys and girls. So today we're going to be talking about triangles. And there's two ways you can classify triangles, by their angles and by their sides. And so first we're going to start with reviewing their angles. And you notice in the word triangles, we actually have the word angles in it. And we know that tri means three. So we're always going to have three angles. I know you guys have already done this, so this is just a review. But an acute angle is a cute, tiny little angle. And that means that this angle is less than 90 degrees. When we're talking about a right angle, which is the one in the middle, this one is exactly 90 degrees. We can also say that these two lines, right, are perpendicular to each other. So they make an X like this, so that we have a right angle on all four sides. And then finally we have an obtuse angle, which is greater than 90 degrees. So once you know this, it's super easy to classify a triangle by its side because of this little trick that I'm going to tell you. So we know already that angles have three sides, but two of those angles are always going to be acute. So all triangles always have two acute angles. So all you have to do is find the one that's not acute and determine, is it another acute, is it a right, or is it an obtuse? So let's look at this example down here. I see here I have an acute, and here I have an acute. So that means I need to look at this angle to determine what type of triangle it is. And based on my notes, this is a right angle, so this is a right triangle. Okay, moving on to the next one, I notice this is acute and this is acute. So I'm going to look at my third angle. That is definitely greater than 90 degrees, so this is an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle, which makes it an obtuse triangle. And finally, look again, acute, acute. And now this one, it almost looks like 90 degrees. So I would probably take out my protractor to just double check. But since I drew it, I know it's not exactly 90 degrees. It's a little bit less, meaning this is an acute triangle. Okay, so that's a really easy way to think about how you classify them by their angles. Now we're going to talk about classifying them by their sides. And it's really helpful to do this, to have a ruler with you. Sometimes you can just tell by looking at the triangle, but if you want to be completely certain, you should definitely have a ruler with you. So, three different types. The first one that we're going to start with, we're going to break this word apart, equilateral. And actually, the word equi is a STEM word, which means equal. So this is probably the easiest triangle because when you look at it, it means that all sides are equal. Or another word you might hear is congruent. All sides are congruent, meaning that they're the same length and they're the same shape. And we show that they're congruent or equal with these dash marks on each of the lines. So that is an equilateral triangle. An isosceles triangle, if you can see, what is the difference between these two? And I'll tell you that when I was making these with my ruler, I made the base of each triangle the same exact size, which was 6 inches. So you can probably tell that these sides look a little bit longer than these sides. So this is actually what we call an isosceles triangle because these two sides are equal, but the third side is not equal. And again, for our third triangle, I drew the bottom, the base, at 6 inches. But these two are not 6 inches. So this one was about 7 inches, and the last one was about 8. So that means I have 3 different lengths, which means this is a scalene triangle. None of the sides are the same. And I'm wondering, is there a way for us to remember the difference? So equi, we know, is pretty easy. But how can I remember the difference between scalene and isosceles? Well, I'm going to show you something in the word isosceles. Notice there are 2 S's and 2 E's. Okay, so there's your clue. 2 and 2 means 2 sides are equal. Notice in scalene, the only thing that repeats are the E's, but in isosceles, we have 2 letters that repeat, and that means that the 2 sides have to be equal. So I hope you learned a lot today, and I look forward to our next video.